be thankful for of the week. My Detroit Lions going for their fourth straight win. Say what? Say it louder for the people in the back. They got the dub against the Giants in week 11. And the Bills back on track after winning against the Browns in Detroit last week. But Jared, I'm coming to you first. Why didn't the Buffalo Bills just stay in Detroit for 3 days?
We talked about this on Let's Bet It. I don't want to offend your Michigander soul, but
there's things to do in Detroit, guys, more than in Buffalo, probably.
How about you ask Tank? Tank, if you had the choice of going back home for 2 days or staying in Detroit for 4 Thanksgiving week, what would you choose?
I think Thanksgiving is the time to be around family. And so I think the guys would probably appreciate kind of being at home with the wife and the kids and other folks like that before heading back off. And then another thing, too, the flight isn't that long. So maybe that played a part into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And staying in a hotel just for that long and you're in Detroit for no reason.
Okay.
Had to get that jab in at the end there, bud. Get that jab in.
Okay.
I'll save it for the end. Just
I know the Lions have had 3 wins in a row, but none of them have necessarily been against any great teams. It was good for them beating the Giants, but the Packers and the Bears have a combined 7-15 record this season. And you look at the Bills' offense. They're scoring 30-plus points in each of the last 2 weeks. Lions have the worst points per game defense in the league. Jared, is this a spot where 9.5 isn't too many points?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've got some red flags popping up here with Buffalo. And it's not like abandon ship, like sound the alarm, but it's, we're starting to see some cracks in that impenetrable defensive armor. They've given up 56 points in their last 2 games. They're 26th in EPA per play over their last 2 games, and they're allowing opponents a 51% success rate on dropbacks. So the secondary, and you could call it overall, their defense is playing a little bit under expectation. Call it the difficult conditions maybe against Minnesota, good offense. Then they go on the road where they're supposed to be at home and all the, the hubbub surrounding that travel game last week with the snow. And, maybe you could make some excuses for them, but I think this is a team that, as good as Josh Allen is still very much a defense-first team. And their defense has kind of been letting them down a little bit over the last couple of weeks. Tremaine Edmonds, key linebacker, out this week. Groin injury. That's a guy that's huge, stopping the run, underneath in coverage. I think Detroit's going to have a lot more success offensively with him out. And the Lions defense, which was dead last in EPA per play weeks 1 through 8, trending up in the top half of the league now over the last handful of games. So you're starting to see 2 teams that are way on opposite ends of the spectrum early in the year, starting to gravitate a little bit now closer to the mean. So you could absolutely make a case that the market hasn't fully caught up on this Lions uptick and not fully caught up on the Bills downtick. But that being said, I'm sorry, Lauren, I am contractually obligated to tell you this stat. The Lions have lost 15 straight games on Thanksgiving.
Yep, really, I know that because I watch them every year on Thanksgiving since I was a wee little gal.
Tank's trying not to laugh right now, but it's hard.
It's hard. Your sorrows and you stuff your face with stuffing and turkey and just hope that makes you feel worse, feeling too full than the loss that the Detroit Lions give you. But I digress. It's bad.
Like, I think I read something on social media where someone was talking about the life of a Lions fan on Thanksgiving. And basically it was that where you just try to eat your food during the time where the Lions play won't make you throw up. And then the only thing that makes you feel better at night
brunch
is like watching. Yeah, it's like watching like Kirk Cousins and the Vikings like catching L in the late game.
Yeah, seriously. Like, what's worse, the pain of being too full or the pain of seeing your team lose 15 straight Thanksgiving games? I don't know. But 9.5 points, Tank, we say this. It's a lot of points. I feel like Detroit plus 9.5 could be a good bet to make because the Bills have only won 1 game since week 6. By 10-plus points. And they're 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 against NFC North teams. Something to keep in mind. Do you feel like maybe it could be a good spot with the Lions getting the points at home?
For sure, actually. I think you're kind of spot on right there. Would I bet it? I'm not sure yet. Let's just kind of talk me into something. So I think about how I felt the Lions were going into New York last week and that the Giants were just going to kind of manhandle them because of where they were situated in the NFC East and having to stay ahead of Dallas and some of those other teams. And then the Giants just wet the bed. And also the Lions at the same time play solid ball. Like Aiden Hutchinson is a monster. Like this dude is making like splash plays. Like he's not on TJ Watt's level, but he's making those types of plays where he's not only like getting after the quarterback, but he's like catching the ball, making interceptions and things like that. Like you see some similarities with that. And so I just look at the energy that the Lions are playing with. So they're coming off a big win in New York. Now they get to go home and play on Thanksgiving, which is like one of the biggest games that you can play in, where you know everyone's watching you and you get to highlight your talents against a Buffalo Bills team that seems a little vulnerable. And so this game to me kind of reminds me of the first game of the season, Philadelphia versus the Lions. How did that game turn out? Philadelphia came away with the win, but it was like 38-35. And the way that Buffalo defense has been playing and the way that the Lions offense is trending, the one thing that I thought about when I saw this matchup and thinking about that Philly game was this. Over. It's like throwing a frozen turkey into hot oil. The explosion is coming on Thanksgiving morning. So one thing is this, like I'm not sure if I really talked about it. Like Josh Allen has had pedestrian numbers, like only 197 pass yards in the tub last week. They kind of leaned on Devin Singletary. When you're playing bad ball, you kind of have to take some pressure off of them and then build a solid base. Like you have to put the bottom in. I think the bottom is in now, and now you get this matchup against that Lions defense. And even though they've been playing better over the past couple of weeks, I don't think they've seen an offense like the Bills, especially coming in motivated like this. So I think they explode, and I feel like the Lions can kind of keep pace a little bit. I feel really good about this over. I would prefer for it to be a little less points, but I feel like Vegas is hip to the game, and that's why they got it thrown up at 54.5, because they can see this game turn out a lot like that Eagles-Lions game as well.